Welcome back, everybody. This is Herbie with my Nomadic Dream, and today is water day. Oh, with it being water day, I'm gonna show you guys everything that I think is essential when it comes to boondocking in La Posa South on how to gather water. When I first got here, I started out with these jugs here using a funnel, and I would manually pick all of those up and put them into that hole to fill my tanks. And I would make multiple trips back and forth with jugs of water on the e-bike. But since then, I have invested in a water bladder, which makes my life easier, and it makes my boondocking experience a heck of a lot better because I got this thing, a 67-gallon water bladder. But not only did I get that water bladder, I also purchased a water transfer pump from Harbor Freight. And this is not that loud. So I'm just gonna set it down here on the ground so that I can get everything prepped and ready to go. I have my power stations inside currently charging. So by the time I get back with water, we should be golden so that I can take this empty, wrinkled up water sack, fill it up with water, and pump it into the hole. But I'm gonna take this bladder and I'm actually gonna put it in the back of the Herbie mobile. And then I'm gonna be on my way to go get my shower water because I do not drink the LTVA water. I only wash this body with it. I'm gonna put Hope back in the camper and I'm gonna get to doing my chore. Come here, Hope. Come here, honey. Let's go back inside, okay? Brother's gonna be right back. I just gotta put you back in here so that I can go take care of business, because when you're boondocking, there is always stuff you can be doing. Because it's never a lazy day, especially when you are out here boondocking in the middle of the Arizona desert. And water is a necessity for life. But besides water being a necessity for life, so is taking a shower, because even as a nomad, you have to stay clean. Because if you are dirty, that is when you can pass off infections and germs and sicknesses and everything else. Because believe it or not, washing hands is very important. Ask me how I know. I was the environmental services manager for a chain of nursing homes in my previous life. But I'm gonna make my way down to the water area and get some water. It doesn't matter how you gather the water. It could be with 1-gallon jugs, it could be with a 5-gallon bucket, a bladder, or you can even move your rig every time that you got to fill up. It's water harvesting of any sort. Gathering is very important and essential when it comes to boondocking. You will not survive boondocking anywhere without water. You have to stay hydrated. If not, then a lot of bad things can happen to you. And if you have a fur baby, you definitely need water. Because if anything ever happens to your animal, you can't blame anybody but yourself. And if you smell, you can only blame yourself for being smelly, especially when it gets hot. I know we're nomads, but personal hygiene is still very important. We are coming up on the water fill area here at La Posa South. and a super long line for the dump station. But the fill stations do not look to be busy today, which is amazing because it has been a wait the last few times that I've had to fill up with water. So it is going to be a nice change of pace to get water. We're going to turn in here before anybody else comes up and tries to take my spot to fill my water. And yeah, I might bring you guys along. So I'm just gonna start filling this up. Turn that on high. And it really should not take that long to fill this up. Probably 5 to 8 minutes, I would expect. I don't really need a lot of water. So I got like half of a tank, maybe a little bit less than half. So it should still be pretty decent. But, you know, I do have to stay cleaner nowadays, that's for sure. If you know, you know. But we're just gonna watch this just fill up with water and wait patiently. I'm just here at the water station at La Posa South, filling up my water bladder. So it shouldn't be that long until I have enough water to take back to camp. But I normally have to fill up my water tanks probably every week and a half to 2 weeks. But I expect I'm gonna have to start filling it up at least once a week, because there's sometimes when there's more than just one person taking showers. So it all varies on what your rig is, how big your freshwater tank is, and obviously how many people are using the water and how often you're doing dishes. So I can't really tell you an estimate on what it will be for you, but you just got to experiment for yourself. And that's the whole purpose of boondocking, is learning what works with your setup for you. But as you can see, the bladder is starting to get full, which is nice. I do move it around a little bit so I can get some of the wrinkles out from the bottom. That way I can keep the fill cap on top, so as it fills, I can let out some of the air, because I'm here to get water, not air. But as you can see, the water bladder is getting bigger, which is good. And you might be thinking, aren't you worried that it is going to fall out of the truck? And the answer is no, because I drive slow. And if anything, I can always tie one of these tie straps and really make it secure so that there is no possibility of it falling out of the truck at all. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and we should be done. All right, so I think that's enough of water for now. So I'm just going to turn the water off. I'm going to shut off my main valve. Then I'm going to disconnect the hose from here. Let the water drain out of the hose. And just coil it back up. And then I usually just put it right through the eyelets. Just like this. So that it's nice and secure. And that's it. So it's nice and secure. But we're gonna get back in the truck and get back to camp. We are gonna drive carefully back to camp. I should not have any issues with it falling out, like I never do. But I am gonna take a different route back to camp, because I don't think it's wise to go through that big wash with that water bladder on the tailgate, because gravity. But yeah, there's currently there's really not any long lines at the water station, There's currently 1, 2, 3, 4 spigots available out of the 8. So it's pretty good. And I do know the last time that I got water in La Posa South, I did have to wait behind about 5 cars. So yeah, it's definitely getting better around here. I'm just now getting back to my camp with my water bladder so that I can start pumping water into my tanks. So I'm gonna drive through my rocks and get my truck lined up so that I can back up to the water fill hole. And I'm gonna use my mirrors and not the camera because, you know, safety first. But we're gonna try to attempt this without running over anything. And we'll see if that's close. Let's see. Yeah, that should be good. So I'm gonna get out of the truck. And yeah, we are perfect. So I'm gonna get the pump up here. I'm gonna get my power station, and I'm gonna hook up all of these hoses. All right, so I just grabbed my Jackery, so I'm gonna get that plugged in along with my water transfer pump. I'm just gonna set that there. Make sure that's not in the water. Plug in this baby. Turn it on. Now I just need to connect my transfer hose. Usually you do want to put some type of food grade oil into the transfer pump every once in a while, which I do probably every 3 trips, because I don't think it's necessarily necessary if you're using it as often as I am to do it every single time. So I'm just gonna put this one in there. All right, just like that. And I'm gonna flip you guys around and show you. Basically, this is my rough setup. I got my power station connected to my transfer pump. Got my transfer hose going into the camper. I got this one going to the bladder. I'm gonna open up this valve so the water can flow naturally and turn on the pump, and the water is going inside of the trailer. Oh wow, this is filling up my fresh water tanks. I should be good to go for at least another week and a half with my 50-gallon freshwater tank. And I do have an emergency 5, 10, 11, 12, 13 gallons of water on the ground, just in case I happen to get really low on water in the evening. This way I can just dump in what I need. But that's basically my setup when it comes to gathering water while I'm boondocking in La Posa South. So I really hope you guys are able to learn something from this, because there's definitely multiple different ways of doing it. You can take your rig and fill up your tanks like I mentioned before, but then you got to bring it back, get it re-leveled and all of that stuff. You can do the jug method, but then you're using a funnel, and trust me, that's pretty messy. Or you can even get a transfer pump to pump the water out of those jugs into your tanks, but you're still making multiple trips. But the best way that I have found is with an actual water bladder with a transfer pump, so that you can just get all the water that you need at one time, and you don't have to move your rig, and you can just sit back and have a cold beverage, or you can hang out with your friends if they're nearby. But yeah, it's really, really simple. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Everybody does it and needs it. So until next time, get yourself some water. All right, guys, later. Bye.